This is the NBC Television Network.
From the Kansas City Royals, pitcher David Cone.
So Greg Gumbel debuts this September as host of NFL Live. We've got a new pitcher as we move to the bottom of the third, David Cone for the American League. And he's going to face Ozzie Smith to start it. And before Ozzie steps in, let's hear what his counterpart at shortstop, the Orioles' Cal Ripken, says about the Wizard.
I'm very envious because I'm a big, cumbersome type of person, and I have to really rely on my positioning to cover this ground. Here he is someone that is very graceful and quick, and he stands right in the middle saying, if it's a left-hand hitter or a right-hand hitter, I can catch that, I can catch this, I can make all the plays. So I enjoy watching all the different types of shortstops, and most of the time I'm envious of their abilities. He's the one I think everyone's envious of.
Ripken had a year once where he made only 3 errors, and that's the record. Ozzie jumps on the first pitch, and a meek fly ball to center field that Ken Griffey Jr. takes care of. Ozzie defined the position for a generation, though. 13 gold gloves, and his election this year, when Barry Larkin is really the superior player at this point, Ozzie 39 years old, is kind of in the category of a Lifetime Achievement Award, but he deserves it.
You know, the first time I went into St. Louis with the Brewers Bob in the '82 series and saw this guy come out of the dugout and do that flip going to shortstop and drove the fans crazy in St. Louis. I mean, it was a big part of their win. This guy is really something, and to watch him do it here tonight, again, I tried it earlier during batting practice. No good. Does that hurt?
He'll be 40 the day after Christmas. Best guess is 1 more year. And then retirement, 5 years later, Cooperstown. Bagwell bats for Maddox. There are 3 players in this game. Bagwell from the Astros is at the plate now. Albert Bell from the Indians, whom we'll see later, and Frank Thomas of the White Sox, who have legitimate shots at the Triple Crown, which hasn't been won in either league since Carl Yastrzemski of the Red Sox in '67.
Well, the problem is they have to beat each other out. In the American League, both Bell and, of course, Thomas. Then you have Griffey leading in home runs.
Bagwell fouls it back. He's hitting .348. Consider that number. A right-handed hitter without much speed at .348. 27 homers, and the Astrodome is his home park. 82 RBIs. Started out as the property of the Red Sox. A trade they no doubt regret. Full count.
We watched him yesterday in the home run hitting contest following Ken Griffey Jr. and the American League dugout going crazy.
And a pinch single for him here with 1 out in the third.
After Griffey hit about 6 balls in the upper deck, Bagwell came on and tried to duplicate to left. There was no chance, Joe.
He had a very tough act to follow. But the interesting thing about Bagwell is he has become a better hitter each year.
These two have no excuse for not sending one another a birthday card. Each born May 27th, 1968. Bagwell in Boston, Thomas in Columbus, Georgia. Jeffries swings at a pitch he wished he hadn't offered at. Does Rodriguez have room? It goes off his glove. He wasn't sure. Remember, he's an American leaguer, unfamiliar with this park, perhaps not sure where the lip of the dugout was or the fence, and he kind of stabbed at that ball at the last minute.
Well, he's at his own dugout, Bob. He should have gotten a little more help there, but he had a lot more room than he thought. He was right near the camera area down there. He jumped up. Really didn't have to jump. That ball was in by plenty. Popped away, no play on him. There's Boggs right alongside.
Jeffries a switch hitter. Doubled to left as a right-handed batter off Jimmy Key earlier in the game and scored the National League run.
There you see what David Cone is famous for, a good hard slider. Jeffries started for it but broke in so sharply would have been jammed if he would have continued to swing.
Tony Gwynn says of Cone, best stuff in the majors. I don't know why he doesn't win 30. 1 and 2. Did it hit him? Yeah, it nicked him. Down to second goes Bagwell as Jeffries is hit by a pitch.
And remember, it doesn't have to hit you. Just touch your uniform, and that's all it does there. Take another look and see it just touches his uniform. It does not have to hit your body.
And now with a runner at second, Rodriguez to talk it over with Cone.
They feel a lot better on the uniform than they do in the ribs, Joe. I know that. We were talking earlier about it. The fact that here it is again. Little inside fastball, an 0-2 pitch from Cone. And not a bad pitch at all. Not a bad zone. He just nicked the uniform of Jeffries. But he hit him.
Gwynn grounded out his first time. Takes a fastball high.
This may be Gwynn's best year overall because he's driving in runs. He has 49 runs batted in, which is a lot for him. He'll probably surpass his career high this year.
He's the only Padre on the team, but there are 6 former Padres combined in the game, the most of any team, which makes a statement about the state of their franchise. He's ahead 2-0, and that's when he's most dangerous. Hits it hard down the right field line and in there for extra bases. Bagwell scores. Jeffries with good speed to third. Leland waves him home. They have trouble with the carom. Alomar's relay. Safe. He slid around the tag. And Gwynn comes up with 2 RBIs on the double down the right field line.
Great slide there by Jeffries at home plate. The throw actually beat him. Rodriguez could not block him off the plate. But you mentioned Tony Gwynn. When he gets you 2-0, he can take the ball any place he wants. He decides to pull it, and he finds the corner. And now the ball will bounce away from Puckett. Puckett gets there. Now it bounces away. Jeffries being waved all the way. And watch the slide. Beautiful slide, eluding the tag of Rodriguez.
Bonds had a sacrifice fly his first time. Swings on the first one and doesn't get it.
Here it is again. Jeffries coming around the outside of Rodriguez. Rodriguez had the plate blocked up front, Joe. He came around. Jeffries came around the outside. Look where he's got his foot. He's got the plate blocked. Jeffries with a beautiful slide to get the back part of the plate.
There's that devastating slider from Cone.
With that downward action, and Bonds just kind of waving at it.
Now the problem is it looks like a fastball until it gets about halfway to the plate. And you have to respect his fastball because he'll throw it right by you.
Win at second, 1 out. National League leads it 3-1. There goes the bat, and there goes Bonds back to the dugout, made to look foolish by David Cone. And the fans here get on him. In contrast to Drabek, a former Pirate Cy Young Award winner who left to go to Houston as a free agent, Bonds did the same after winning 2 of his 3 MVP awards wearing a Pirate uniform, and they booed him mercilessly during the introductions.
Well, this looks more like a curveball. You can see the spin on it, a little more downward action, but just as effective as the 2 hard sliders to Bond.
Piazza lines softly to Thomas at first to end the first for the National Leaguers, who are in front now 3-1.
Here's Bonds again, a devastating breaking ball that time. There goes the bat into the dugout.
And guess who caught it? The golden hands of Ozzie Smith. He can catch anything.
The man who can bare hand a bat. 1-1. Bonds, of course, MVP 3 times in a 4-year span, and might have won it. The 1 year he didn't when Terry Pendleton got it for the Braves. Great year for Pendleton, but you could have made a case for Bonds. Piazza serves one into left center field. Didn't hit it all that hard, but in a good spot. He's got an RBI as Gwynn comes across.
Another breaking ball from David Cone that stayed up. Piazza waiting back nicely. Didn't hit it all that hard, but he got enough of it for the RBI base hit. Here it is again. Little breaking ball that time. He reached out and punched that ball. Get it up above the trademark. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you look at Piazza. Here's a guy who was a 62nd round draft choice. A called strike to Matt Williams. I'm not talking about the 60-second player. I'm talking about 62nd round, widely viewed as a courtesy pick because his dad Vince is a close pal of Tommy Lasorda's. He develops possibly into one of the great players of his generation. After a year and a half, all the signs are there.
Well, if you're 62nd or 72nd, it's better than being drafted where I was.
Which was where? Into the Navy?
Service.
I'm stepping on you, stealing your lines here.
Sorry,
I just guessed.
It was on our side. That's all that counted at that time.
1-1 to Williams.
Waited for scouts for years.
And he couldn't catch up with the heat from Cone. What's that story about when the scout came to your house talking to your dad?
Oh, yeah, when they signed me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the $3,000 bonus. My dad couldn't afford it, but he gave it up. Braves took it. It was great to be signed. That's all that mattered.
I'll tell you, David Cone will give you some very uncomfortable at-bats, especially if you're not used to looking at him. But they punched 3 across. Back after this from your local station.
Tommy John threw a super sinker, and it was very hard for a left-hander to hit that ball in the air.
Justice starts it, and Cone starts him with a strike on the outside corner. You played with Griffey Sr. and probably saw Griffey Jr. around the ballpark as a kid a lot, right?
There were a lot of great young players in that clubhouse that are in the major leagues now. Saw Ken Griffey Jr., Hal McRae's son Brian, Eduardo Perez, Pete Rose Jr., a lot of players who went on, Pedro Bourbone's son, a lot of players are now going to be in the major leagues in the next couple of years.
Justice bounces one foul toward Thomas. Senior very different in terms of his build, 5'11", stocky. Junior much lankier, has a more natural home run swing. Senior never hit more than 21 in a season.
One of the things that I'm bothered by, Bob, is that because of the exploits of their sons, Bobby Bond has been overshadowed, and so has Ken Griffey Sr. Ken Griffey Sr. was a much better player than he's ever given credit for. He's a great outfielder, very accurate, and very good defensive player, a lot of speed. I believe that he is much faster than Ken Griffey Jr. He's a better base stealer. He wasn't better defensively. And Bonds is the same situation. His father was a great player.
You know, Griffey a lot of times, Joe, has been accused of lackadaisical play in center field, and he really doesn't. He's just got that loping stride. He knows at the crack of the bat where the ball is going. The other guy, too, in Toronto, Devon White, who, as we've seen many times, balls are hit out there that you think are in the gaps or are going to go out of the ballpark, and he's got that little cruising gait, and he gets there very easily, and both in the same situation.
Wade Boggs had Justice played well off the line at third, and it turns into an easy play for him. Folks, beginning August 7th, NBC Sports brings you the World Championship of Basketball. Dream Team 2 will take the floor. Led by Shaq and Alonzo Mourning, Reggie Miller will be there. They're on a quest to bring home the gold and the world title. The World Championship of Basketball begins August 7th on NBC. Carlos Garcia stands in. Kid is really a natural shortstop with a great arm, but they have Jay Bell, an all-star last year for the Pirates, so he's at second base these days. Chopper towards short. Ripken glides left and tosses him out. The rule is every team has to be represented. Garcia, a fine young player, probably doesn't have the numbers that some others who were left home have put together in the first half of the year, but every team has to have at least one player. And, of course, you're never going to have a city host the game and not include somebody from their club.
I think that's fair.
Ozzie flied to Griffey his first time up. 2 out, nobody on. Last half of the fourth. National League leads it 4-1. Americans got a run in the first. Nationals tied it in the bottom half. And the senior circuit got 3 in the third to take the lead. Quickly 0-2. Ozzie is not only the oldest All-Star, he's the oldest position player in the majors, which is kind of surprising at age 39. Reaches for that one and hits it softly into right for a base hit. There are only 7 players in the majors older than Ozzie Smith, and they're all pitchers or designated hitters.
A little breaking ball that time. An 0-2 breaking ball from David Cohen up about belt high and Ozzie Smith. Nice, easy swing.
Nothing but hands.
So Ozzie aboard with 2 down. Used to be a prolific base stealer, but he swiped only 4 this year. How about Bagwell's stance?
Not only the stance, Bob, but he has an unusual stride. He spreads out a lot, but instead of striding forward, his front foot actually comes backwards. It will come back and not go forward like all the other hitters do.
In the dirt, and Rodriguez comes up with it. Bagwell, despite the numbers, probably your first half MVP in the National League, 5th in the voting. Playing for the Astros has a lot to do with that. The Astros have 5 players on the team, all reserves, most of any team in either league. But they haven't had an elected starter since Cesar Cedeno 21 years ago. At the knees, says the plate ump, Paul Runge. Actually, I have to amend that statement. With the late additions of Will Cordero and Marquise Grissom, the Expos now also have 5. 4 Blue Jays. That's the most of any American League team. Ozzie dives back.
They cannot forget about Ozzie at first. He can steal a base.
I'd love to see him run tonight. I want people to see this kid throw. Ivan Rodriguez.
The 2-1 pitch not going, fouled off.
Joe, when you talked about Bagwell in that open stance, despite the fact that he flies out, that he opens up and stays open, he covers the plate. He still covers the plate.
Look at his front foot, how it comes backwards. It doesn't go forward. But you're right, he does cover the plate because his upper body is close to the plate.
Where does his power come from?
Well, his power comes from his upper body strength, and he really throws his hips open. He uses his hips to help generate bat speed, but his upper body is very strong.
The 2-2 pitch, Cone dropped down on him and strikes him out. 3rd strikeout for Cone. 4-1 National League.
I think that's a juiced baseball. I really do. I'm absolutely sure of it. I'm just going to march out to the mound and check it out. All right, time out. Uh-huh. Can't slip that by me.
The Tigers take on the Royals on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.